Welcome back, everyone, to Recruiting Thursday here on Westmoreland Sports Network. Jack Ridenour with you all, and today we are joined by current Franklin Regional track and field star and recent Robert Morris commit, Sierra Todero. Sierra, great to get you on the show today. First off, congratulations on the big-time commitment. How does it feel to finally make this decision?
Thank you. It feels really great. It's like a big relief, and I'm just really excited to go to Robert Morris next year.
Well, you mentioned it being a big relief, and I would love to know just how this overall process was for you, really, from start to finish. I mean, how was recruitment as a whole for you?
Really wasn't that bad. My junior and senior year so far, I've kind of didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, if I wanted to go to college, if I wanted to go to like a 2-year school or anything. So I actually didn't have that long of a recruiting process. So it really wasn't anything too stressful, and it was pretty quick, I'd say.
Well, what led you to Robert Morris? I mean, what kind of led you to wanting to stay local?
Well, I've always kind of known I didn't want to go that far. I want to be able to come home. And my sister actually is also on the track team at Robert Morris, so that was a big thing, and I just really love the school there.
Well, I'm glad you bring up your sister because she was also a teammate of yours in high school, and obviously now that she's off at college and you'll be joining her again very, very soon, I'm sure she was a huge support to you and just really a person to go to for advice really during this whole process. How much of a help and how much did having her along the way really benefit you and allowed for this process to be a little bit easier?
It was a big help because she kind of told me what to expect and everything. So she kind of just gave me some advice on how to talk to coaches and everything. So she was definitely a big help.
Have you two talked about how excited you guys are about reuniting and being teammates again?
Yeah, we're really excited. She definitely pushes me the most, and she's the best teammate. So I'm really excited, and I know she's pretty excited to have me back on her team also. So.
Very cool. Well, that's got to be very exciting for the both of you. But I also know that you're also a standout on the soccer field. And I'm curious, as a dual sport athlete, I'm sure you might have been, torn between the two on what you wanted to pursue. I mean, what was it that, eventually allowed you to decide on just track and field and not, doing soccer and track and field?
Well, one thing is I obviously love to be athletic and to compete. And so with track and field, I'm always going to have that guarantee to be able to go to a meet and get some jumps in. But with soccer, you never know if you're going to be playing that game. So I really liked the stability of track and field. And I knew I could kind of get further with track and it would give me more opportunities. So.
Had you ever thought about doing both in college?
Not really, honestly. I kind of always knew I didn't want to do both just because I didn't want to be too stressed out with college, especially because it's a whole new experience and a whole new life that I'm going to be living. So I kind of always knew I was either going to be one or the other.
Well, when did you start your athletic career? I mean, when did you start, track and field, and when did you start soccer?
Soccer, I believe I started in 3rd grade, and then track I started in 6th grade.
So what kind of led you into getting into track and field a little bit later?
Well, my sisters, I saw them doing it, and they're older than me. So as soon as I could really get on it, I did a club team with the Greensburg YMCA, and that was kind of the first thing I did. So just seeing my sisters and all of that, I just wanted to do it, and that's kind of how I got started with that.
Well, I know that your expertise is in the jumping department. I mean, had you always been a jumper right from starting, or did you kind of start with running and then move over to jumping?
Yeah, ever since I've started, I've done jumping just because Raina does it, and I've kind of followed in her footsteps with a lot of things. So I kind of knew that's what I wanted to try, and it seemed to be a good fit for me. So.
Now, how would you say playing soccer has helped you in track and field and vice versa? I mean, how would you say the two sports kind of, go hand in hand with one another?
I honestly don't really think they go that hand in hand just because soccer's like so physical and I'm constantly going when I'm on the field. But then track, it's like you do your event, you do your jump, or you do the 100-meter and you're done. But soccer's always constantly going. So, I mean, soccer does put me in really good shape. So that does help me with track. But yeah, I feel like they're kind of two different sports.
So how do you kind of jump from back and forth from one to the other? I mean, I'm sure that's got to be hard. You have one mindset, like you said, a little bit more aggressive in soccer, and track and field not so much. So how do you kind of have that switch go on and off?
Well, yeah, the first season I think that I did both soccer and track at the first time was my sophomore year, and I was on a club team for soccer. And it was honestly really hard to be able to focus on one at a time because I'd go from a track meet to then a club practice. So after my sophomore year, I did decide to just stick with track in the spring and focus on track. I felt like I wasn't giving enough attention to my club team, so it was just better for me to focus on track because it is really hard to go to flip that switch and go from the two different sports.
So then along that way, I'm sure you probably are starting to think about, competing in college and whatnot. At what point does it kind of dawn on you and you say, kind of want to follow big sister and do this in college?
I kind of always, if I was going to do track in college, I always had RMU at the back of my head just because I was like, it would be really nice to be back with Raina. So I kind of started my recruiting process, honestly, at the beginning of my senior year because at the end of the summer, like I said earlier, I wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing next year. And so my sister told me, hey, you should contact the coach. And then we kind of just started talking. I went on a visit. And so probably around, I think that was in October or November. So that's kind of when I really was like, hey, I think I can actually do this and go and compete at RMU. So that was nice.
Well, like you said, a very quick turnaround, very quick process, and really not a lot of student athletes, I would say, have it so quick. So I think that's great that you were able to, signed, sealed, and delivered very, very quickly. But I know that, obviously final track and field season in high school is coming up for you in the springtime. I'm sure you have a lot of goals that you set out for yourself individually and for your team. But what are some of those goals that you've set out for yourself in particular, but then also for your team as a whole?
Well, for me, last year, I focused more on triple jump because that's what I am better at. But I really want to put more focus on long jump because I feel like I kind of lacked in that last year. So I want to make sure I'm PRing much more in long jump as well as triple jump, but definitely focus some more on long jump. And then just for my team, getting more points than I did last year for them. So.
Well, it's going to be a very exciting spring, I'm sure, for you, especially with it being your final spring. Before we get you out of here, Sierra, I want to just hear from you. What excites you most about going to college? I mean, I know that college is an exciting time of your life, of really anybody's life. Next 4 years is going to be very exciting and whatnot. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be athletic related, can be really anything. What just overall excites you about heading off to college?
I think definitely the change in like schedule and all the schooling, and being able to like try living on my own. I'm excited to see how that goes. So just the overall change and like being with a whole new team. I've been at Franklin Regional my whole life, so I've kind of stuck around the same people, and now I'm going to get to experience new people, make new friends. So that's what I'm excited for.
Well, we are all very excited for you here at Westmoreland Sports Network. Good luck this spring, and we again really appreciate your time today, and good luck at Robert Morris.
Thank you.
That's Sierra Todero of Franklin Regional. Folks, again, thanks so much for joining us today on another great edition of Recruiting Thursday right here on Westmoreland Sports Network.